Every 65 seconds, someone in the United States develops Alzheimer's, the most common and devastating form of dementia. Yet tragically, most early signs are ignored, dismissed as mere normal aging. But they're not. Dementia isn't a single disease, it's a complex syndrome that gradually erodes memory, thinking, and the ability to carry out daily activities. And while its progression is relentless, early recognition can change everything. With timely intervention, medications, lifestyle changes, and support systems can delay decline and preserve quality of life. The difference between catching it early and waiting too long? Independence, safety, even life itself. In this video, we'll reveal the 10 early warning signs of dementia that you must never ignore. Watch until the end, because recognizing just one of these signs might save your life or someone you love. Number 1. Poor judgment and decision-making. One of the most alarming early signs of dementia, yet often the most overlooked, is a noticeable decline in judgment and decision-making abilities. These changes can appear subtle at first but can quickly lead to serious consequences if left unaddressed. It often begins with seemingly small but uncharacteristic decisions, overspending, making unusual purchases, or suddenly becoming overly generous with money, even when finances are tight. Some individuals fall victim to obvious scams they would have once recognized as fraudulent. Others might make reckless choices, like continuing to drive despite safety concerns, or abruptly stopping medication without reason. As cognitive decline progresses, personal hygiene and grooming habits may deteriorate. Someone who once dressed meticulously may now appear disheveled, wear seasonally inappropriate clothing, or neglect basic cleanliness altogether, not out of laziness, but because their brain is no longer processing priorities and risks accurately. Even social judgment begins to erode. You may notice inappropriate comments during conversations, poor understanding of social boundaries, or oversharing personal information in public settings. These aren't isolated bad choices, they reflect a deeper breakdown in the brain's executive function. And they carry real risks: financial ruin, legal trouble, injury, or exploitation. That's why early intervention is critical. If you begin to notice these behaviors in a loved one, or yourself, it's essential to take proactive steps immediately. Meet with a healthcare provider. And just as importantly, begin legal and financial planning while decision-making capacity is still intact. Establishing powers of attorney, healthcare directives, and financial protections can safeguard independence and dignity in the years ahead. Poor judgment isn't just a quirk of aging, it may be a warning sign of something far more serious. Recognizing it early can protect a life and preserve a future. Number 2. Misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps. We all misplace our keys or forget where we left our glasses, but in the early stages of dementia, this behavior becomes frequent, disruptive, and deeply concerning. The difference lies in the pattern and severity. This isn't simply forgetting where you placed an item, this is placing things in illogical, even dangerous locations, and having no ability to retrace your steps. Imagine finding a pair of shoes in the oven, or car keys in the freezer, or a container of milk in the pantry. These aren't simple slip-ups. They're signs of cognitive disorientation affecting spatial awareness, memory, and reasoning. As dementia begins to impair the brain's ability to form logical connections, the person often has no recollection of where or why an item was moved. This leads to repeated frustration, anxiety, and even paranoia. People may begin accusing family members of stealing, not out of malice, but because they truly cannot remember what happened. This strain can cause deep emotional tension in households. Trust erodes. Confusion builds. And daily life becomes a constant search for lost items, sometimes essential ones like medications, wallets, or ID cards. As this symptom worsens, safety risks increase. Misplaced items can block exits, cause accidents, or result in exposure to spoiled food or hazardous materials. The solution isn't blame, it's structure. Implementing simple memory aids like labeled drawers, designated item zones, or smart trackers can help in the early stages. But over time, a more structured environment and external supervision may become necessary to preserve safety and stability. Misplacing things may seem minor, but when combined with the inability to retrace steps, it can be one of the most disruptive and emotionally painful early signs of dementia. Early recognition and compassionate action can make all the difference. Number 3, mood and personality changes. One of the most distressing and misunderstood early signs of dementia is a noticeable shift in mood and personality. These changes often occur before memory loss becomes obvious, and they can deeply affect relationships, daily routines, and emotional well-being. A person who was once calm and easygoing may now become easily irritated, anxious, or depressed. They may show apathy, losing interest in activities they once loved, hobbies, social gatherings, or even spending time with family. Others might become unusually fearful or paranoid, suspecting loved ones of betrayal or strangers of bad intentions. These aren't personality flaws. They're symptoms of underlying neurological changes taking place in the brain. In some cases, emotional outbursts happen without warning or obvious cause. Minor frustrations may provoke anger. Conversations that once flowed easily can now trigger confusion or withdrawal. This creates tension in relationships, especially when family members don't understand why the person seems to have changed. It's crucial to remember, this isn't them, it's the disease. These mood and behavior shifts result from damage to areas of the brain that regulate emotion and self-control. Confrontation or criticism often worsens the situation. What's needed is patience, compassion, and professional guidance. Caregivers may feel hurt, confused, or helpless. But understanding that these changes are biologically driven, not intentional, can prevent emotional damage on both sides. Medical professionals can assess whether mood medications, therapy, or structured environments can help reduce distress. In some cases, these symptoms mimic depression or anxiety disorders, so early evaluation is essential for accurate diagnosis. When someone begins to act differently, more irritable, withdrawn, or fearful, it's easy to dismiss it as stress or aging. But in reality, it could be the first visible sign of dementia. Recognizing and responding with empathy can protect relationships and lead to better outcomes. Number 4, social withdrawal. Social withdrawal may appear subtle at first. Someone starts skipping family gatherings, stops attending book clubs, or declines invitations they once looked forward to. But when this behavior becomes persistent, it can be an early and critical warning sign of dementia. Isolation is not just a personal preference. It often signals a deeper cognitive or emotional struggle. People in the early stages of dementia may begin avoiding social situations out of fear of saying the wrong thing, forgetting names, or losing track of conversations. This fear isn't unfounded. As memory, language, and decision-making skills begin to decline, even casual interactions can feel overwhelming or humiliating. Many individuals experience embarrassment, anxiety, or low self-worth, especially when they sense that something is wrong but can't articulate it. Others may feel too exhausted or disoriented to participate in group activities they once loved. In some cases, depression or communication difficulties deepen the desire to withdraw, creating a cycle of isolation and decline. This isn't laziness or antisocial behavior, it's a coping mechanism for cognitive changes that are becoming harder to manage. Social withdrawal can accelerate cognitive deterioration and severely impact emotional well-being. That's why it's essential for loved ones to notice these changes early and respond with gentle encouragement and support, not pressure or guilt. Encourage small steps, short visits, familiar routines, or one-on-one time instead of group settings. If the withdrawal continues, seek a professional evaluation to assess for mood disorders or early cognitive impairment. When someone begins pulling away from life, don't dismiss it as just getting older. It may be one of the first visible signs that something is wrong. Early action, through understanding and support, can preserve connection, improve quality of life, and potentially slow the progression of dementia. Number 5. Changes in sleep patterns. Sleep changes are often overlooked in the early stages of dementia, but they can be one of the most disruptive and exhausting symptoms, both for the individual and their caregivers. These are not just occasional sleepless nights or age-related restlessness. They are persistent sleep disturbances that worsen cognitive and physical decline. Common issues include insomnia, frequent night waking, vivid dreams, and confusion during nighttime hours. Many individuals begin to nap excessively during the day, then stay awake through the night, creating a reversed sleep cycle that throws off natural rhythms and routines. Some may wander at night, risking falls, accidents, or getting lost. Others may experience agitation or hallucinations in the evening, a phenomenon known as sundowning. These sleep disruptions aren't simply due to aging, they result from changes in the brain regions that regulate sleep, along with medications, anxiety, or environmental stressors. As sleep quality declines, so does overall health. The result? Daytime fatigue, irritability, memory lapses, and a higher risk of accidents and medical complications. For caregivers, it means constant vigilance, disrupted rest, and growing emotional and physical exhaustion. Left unmanaged, these changes can contribute to rapid cognitive deterioration and increased dependence. But there are solutions. Start with structured daily routines, consistent bedtimes, reduced screen exposure at night, and calming pre-sleep rituals. Limit caffeine and large meals late in the day. In some cases, professional guidance may be needed, including sleep studies, medication adjustments, or behavioral interventions. If someone you love is showing signs of ongoing sleep disruption, don't dismiss it as just getting older. These changes are often the brain's way of signaling deeper cognitive decline. Addressing sleep early can dramatically improve quality of life, for both the individual and those who care for them. Number 6. Visual and spatial difficulties. One of the lesser-known, but highly dangerous, early signs of dementia is a decline in visual and spatial processing. It's not a problem with the eyes themselves, but with how the brain interprets visual information. And the consequences can be severe. A person may begin to have difficulty judging depth and distance, making tasks like climbing stairs, stepping off curbs, or using escalators feel confusing or even frightening. They may struggle to read, not because their vision has worsened, but because their eyes skip lines or lose track of where they are on the page. Behind the wheel, they might misjudge distances, veer too close to other cars, or have trouble navigating intersections and parking. These aren't isolated incidents. They stem from changes in the parietal and occipital lobes of the brain, areas responsible for spatial awareness and visual interpretation. As dementia progresses, even familiar environments become disorienting. Mirrors may confuse the person. They might not recognize their own reflection or believe someone else is in the room. Shadows, patterned floors, or dim lighting can all become sources of confusion or fear. The physical risks are high: increased falls, injuries, wandering, or getting lost even in one's own home. For caregivers, this can mean constant supervision and growing concern over safety. Fortunately, there are steps that can help. Improve lighting throughout the home. Use contrasting colors to distinguish edges and surfaces. Keep walking paths clear of clutter. Label drawers and doors to reduce confusion. Occupational therapists can provide tailored strategies to enhance navigation and safety. If someone begins bumping into furniture, avoiding stairs, or showing fear of everyday environments, don't assume it's just poor vision. It may be a sign that the brain is struggling to process the world correctly, and it requires immediate attention and care. Number 7. Memory problems. Memory loss is one of the most recognizable signs of dementia, but not all memory issues point to the disease. It's important to understand the difference between normal forgetfulness and the more serious, persistent short-term memory loss seen in early dementia. Everyone occasionally forgets where they put their keys or struggles to recall a name. But when someone repeatedly forgets newly learned information, asks the same questions just minutes apart, or misses important appointments despite reminders, these are red flags that go far beyond typical aging. Early in the disease, short-term memory is the first to decline, while long-term memory often stays intact. This can create a false sense of reassurance. The person may clearly remember events from 30 years ago but forget what they had for breakfast. They might recall their wedding day, yet have no memory of a conversation they had this morning. This uneven memory profile can confuse both the individual and their loved ones. Emotionally, these lapses can be devastating. Many people realize something is wrong before others do, and may try to cover it up, using notes, repeating stories, or withdrawing from conversations to avoid embarrassment. Over time, they may become anxious, frustrated, or depressed, knowing their independence is slipping away. Often, family members are the first to notice. A parent repeating the same story over dinner. A spouse forgetting birthdays or medications. These subtle changes can escalate quickly if ignored. If memory problems are frequent and begin to interfere with daily life, don't wait. Seek a medical evaluation immediately. It may not be dementia, but if it is, early diagnosis opens the door to treatment, planning, and support that can significantly improve quality of life. Memory loss is not just a symptom, it can be your first warning sign. Number 8. Difficulty with familiar tasks. One of the earliest and most telling signs of dementia is difficulty completing routine tasks, the everyday activities that once came naturally. These aren't complex or unfamiliar challenges. These are the things a person has done thousands of times without thinking, following a recipe, managing monthly bills, using a smartphone, or operating the microwave. Suddenly, those once simple tasks become confusing. A person might skip steps, forget what comes next, or stop midway because they can't remember why they started. They may struggle to balance a checkbook, misread instructions on a medication bottle, or become overwhelmed trying to send a text message. These aren't signs of carelessness, they're signs that the brain is no longer coordinating memory, attention, and sequencing properly. This is known as a breakdown in executive function, the cognitive ability that allows us to plan, organize, and carry out multi-step tasks. In early dementia, this system begins to falter. Problem-solving becomes slower. Concentration fades. The steps that once felt automatic now require intense effort, or are forgotten entirely. The emotional impact can be profound. Many individuals feel a deep sense of frustration, embarrassment, or anxiety. They may begin avoiding responsibilities they once handled with confidence, like cooking, paying bills, or managing appointments. This often leads to withdrawal from daily life, further accelerating cognitive and emotional decline. Loved ones may notice signs such as food left uncooked, bills unpaid, or appliances left running. If these changes are consistent, it's time for a deeper evaluation. Don't dismiss these struggles as simple aging. When routine becomes unfamiliar, it's a sign the brain is no longer functioning the way it should. Early recognition allows for support, safety planning, and medical intervention before independence is lost. Number 9. Language and communication problems. Language is one of the most vital tools we use to connect with others, and when it begins to break down, the effects can be profound. In the early stages of dementia, communication problems often appear subtly but consistently, and they go far beyond the occasional senior moment. One of the first signs is word-finding difficulty, known as anomia. A person may pause mid-sentence, struggling to retrieve a common word, like calling a pen the thing you write with. They may substitute vague descriptions for precise terms, or use the wrong word entirely without realizing it. As the condition progresses, people often begin to lose track of conversations, especially in group settings or when multiple topics are discussed. They may repeat the same question minutes apart or tell the same story multiple times, completely unaware they've already said it. Reading and writing abilities may also decline. A once avid reader might struggle to follow storylines or reread the same paragraph repeatedly without understanding it. Writing may become disorganized, with difficulty spelling familiar words or expressing thoughts clearly. These changes can be emotionally frustrating and socially isolating. People may avoid speaking altogether out of embarrassment or fear of making mistakes. For caregivers and loved ones, communication requires patience and adaptation. Speak slowly and clearly. Avoid interrupting or finishing their sentences, even if you know what they're trying to say. Use simple words and short sentences. Give them space and time to find the right words. If these language difficulties begin interfering with daily interactions, it's more than just aging, it could be a sign of early dementia. Early evaluation by a speech-language pathologist or neurologist can lead to strategies that preserve dignity and engagement as long as possible. Words matter, and noticing their loss early could change everything. Number 10. Disorientation to time and place. One of the most unsettling early signs of dementia is disorientation to time and place, a symptom that goes far beyond losing track of the day or momentarily forgetting the date. When someone begins to persistently confuse the time of day, season, or location, it's a red flag that shouldn't be ignored. You might notice them thinking it's morning when it's actually evening. They may try to leave for an appointment in the middle of the night, or dress in heavy winter clothing during a summer afternoon. These are not simple lapses in memory, they indicate a breakdown in how the brain understands time and environment. Disorientation often starts subtly. Someone may get confused about whether an event happened yesterday or last month, or forget where they are after arriving at a familiar place. Over time, this can progress to getting lost in their own neighborhood or even their own home. The safety risks are serious. Missed appointments can delay critical care. Getting lost may lead to panic or dangerous wandering. Leaving the stove on or forgetting to lock doors can put the individual, and others, at physical risk. Some may even continue to drive despite forgetting familiar routes or traffic rules, endangering themselves and others on the road. This kind of confusion isn't a normal part of aging. It stems from damage in the brain regions responsible for temporal and spatial orientation, key systems that allow us to function independently. If someone begins to show signs of being confused about time or place on a regular basis, seek a professional evaluation immediately. Disorientation is not just disconcerting, it's potentially life-threatening. Early intervention can reduce risk, provide clarity, and ensure proper support is put in place before a crisis occurs. Dementia is a progressive condition, but its most devastating effects can be delayed when recognized early. These 10 warning signs, memory loss, confusion, language problems, poor judgment, mood changes, and more, are not just signs of getting older. They are your brain's silent alarm. Ignoring them puts lives, independence, and safety at risk. If you or someone you love is showing even one of these signs, don't wait. Early evaluation by a healthcare professional can lead to diagnosis, treatment, and life-saving support systems. There is no shame in seeking help, only strength in taking action. Share this video with family, friends, and caregivers. You could be the reason someone gets the help they need in time. Comment below if you've noticed any of these symptoms, or if you've supported someone through them. And make sure to subscribe for more trusted health education. Because when it comes to dementia, awareness is protection.